Hello again. I'm gonna come back to this deck. This is my Budapests deck. I don't think this deck is as bad as it shows, but it does have some weaknesses. But let's start by talking about what the deck does. So this is a deck that plays Bauble. I probably don't play enough of these. It's only 5, and it is an 80 card deck, so you're sometimes not gonna see them. That's probably not a good thing. Maybe want to take these up to 7. Still thinking about it. We also run a lot of Hive Mind because it's not limited by anything other than Discipline. So what we really want to do in this deck is get out a copy of Aggie or a copy of Gabby. One of these two is pretty essential to start. Aggie, though, obviously best in slot if we can get her. Then start Hive Minding out our vampires. We got Unwholesome Bond as well to try to get out a bunch of them if we happen to hit a heavy effective management stint, really allowing us to sort of turbo out vampires. We're also running a few of these shell games in here to try to get enough stealth to push us over that barrier of stealth, because that is something that you struggle with when you've got just Vicissitude as your stealth discipline. Vicissitude features not very many cards. Let's go ahead and take a look here to get you past those kinds of situations. So if we're looking at our action modifiers here, we've got Changeling, which requires you to have superior vicissitude. Again, only 2 vampires in the crypt have it. You got Plasmic Form is the other one, which costs you a blood. So you got 2 cards really to do it. You could maybe go Anarchs for other tricks cards, but they're not really gonna get you there, like threatening somebody with extra combat or threatening somebody with ag damage. Not really gonna do it, especially when it costs 1. Lobotomy doesn't really do it either, because that's for your own allies. A Malleable Visage is cute, but not gonna get you any stealth. So you really just have Walk of Cain, or I'm sorry, Shell Game to get you that stealth. Playing for the ousting package, Walk of Cain, because if we can get all of our minions online, it's basically a bleed of 5 every time. We're also playing a little bit of prevention in the form of Skin of Steel and Soak, but our real combat package here is basically just playing assault rifles, flamethrowers, and AKs that we're getting out with this Bauble. Bauble is an action that basically turns one of your vampires into a weapon. This is one of the reasons I love this game. Cards like this, and they are flavorful the way they're done. Somebody's like wandering around, and there's this like vampire, like with another vampire, trying to shift himself into or themselves into an AK-47, and then somebody grabs them and goes, "I don't think you're doing that, buddy." Such a great concept. Bauble is probably a misworded card, to be quite honest. It's not really how I think the card was intended, but let's take a look at the wording here of how you get rid of the card. So first of all, Bauble, the vampire you put this on can't do anything when you transform it. You get a non-unique, non-location equipment card and put it on another minion. Then you don't pay for it, and the vampire with the card can't attack, can't take an action, can't block, can't cast votes, blah, blah, blah. And you can burn this card and the chosen equipment during your unlock phase, or when the minion with the chosen equipment leaves the controlled region. I think this is a misinterpretation of the card's wording. I think this is a LSJ holdover miswording. I believe this or clause is actually meant to make these 2 separate things. The may burn is one separate part, and this part is a independent clause of when the minion controlled by the chosen equipment leaves the controlled region. That's not how it was ruled. It is currently ruled that the may applies to both. You would never, ever care about that may. Ever. Because you can also still rescue the vampire while it's in torpor. And if it burns, it doesn't do anything. If this card burns, it doesn't do anything. At all. At all. At the fuck all. So Bauble is incredibly good if you can get it off. Again, being a vicissitude card does make it more difficult, but with the shell game, it does make it a lot easier, and it's at a minimal cost if you put in enough vampires to shell game. What we want to shell game for here is we want to turn Viri here, or Zizi here, into a weapon the most. If we can turn Zizi into a weapon, and we have Viri in play, Zizi gives us a free unlock. You'll notice with Bobble, it doesn't say you can't use their abilities. So, again, good flavor in the way this is worded. Zizi's ability to unlock another Ready Blood Regent and another Blood Brother in the same... You got the idea. Words are stumbling around really bad for me. But basically, she lets you unlock one of your other Blood Brothers. And all she's got to do is be ready, obviously, because she has to lock to do it. But it doesn't care if she has blood or not. She can't hunt. So she gets to stay unlocking as normal and using her ability as normal. She's essentially a free drive that's just there. It's honestly a lot better than the circumstances that I've tried it out than I thought it would be. The deck's biggest problems are Gestalt is not a great card for blocking because you basically have to try to pick the right amount of intercept when you play it and hope that it works. And oftentimes it's not enough. Camaraderie is only usable against bleeds, so if you're dealing with a voting deck as a predator, you're gonna have a tough time, especially if it's got stealth, because again, trying literally to guess, like, am I gonna get the right number? Just doesn't work, and this card secretly costs blood. So first of all, you choose X ready vampires, including this vampire. So you have to remember, first of all, your vampire is gonna burn a blood. Then all the other vampires have to burn a blood. So this card, basically, to get intercept, costs anywhere between 1 and 5. And you have to try to guess how much of that you're gonna need. Now, you do get to share disciplines with each other, but that doesn't really do anything because you're probably gonna play this with your best card. So, really been disappointed by Gestalt. Don't know if it'll stay in the deck after a couple more tries of the deck, but I do think the deck is a really fun and interesting interaction of cards to play with. It's gotten a couple of very close wins because Walk of Cain really is a very, very good card to surprise somebody with. To just bleed in, they don't know whether or not it's for 5, they don't really want to get into combat with an assault rifle or a flamethrower, and so they just kind of let it through and hope for the best. I think this is a deck worth giving a try. I'm going to be pushing another game with this out again in the future. I'm not exactly sure when. I'll probably also be taking it to paper to see how I like it. But yeah, if you've got any thoughts about it, please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments section. Otherwise, take care. Bye-bye.